What was that?
It's a hot commodity, huh?
Yes, yeast. So if anyone wants to supply yeast, I will do anything for yeast. The next will work for yeast. The desperation phase. Here's what happens: is people take extreme action, but often in the wrong way, and that can be devastating to your business. We take extreme action to get immediate. The toilet paper run is because we're like, oh, I don't know how much toilet paper. That's something I can focus on. Let me do. And someone in our neighborhood, at least the stories going around, has a garage full of toilet paper. That's like I don't know how many years of supply that is, but a garage packed with toilet paper. And when you look at the behavior from the outside, like that is just crazy. But for some of us, taking that extreme action gives us relief in the moment. And I'm going to give you an example of how this works out. There's a thing called the survival trap. But my goal and my intent for our call together today is to very quickly move us to the evaluation phase. The evaluation phase is a tenuous but important consideration. It's either we evaluate and we see opportunity, or we get stuck in the evaluation, analysis paralysis. My goal here is to go you through evaluation and to pinpoint what can you start doing that deliberately starts or effectively gets you to deliberate action. Deliberate action is the fourth stage, and this is where we start seeing the climb back out of a situation like this. What is the appropriate thing to do for my business to fuel forward? What's the one thing I can do? And then I'll put the next foot in front of that and the next foot in front of that. By taking recurring deliberate action, it then can get us positioned for what's inevitably coming. I sadly, no one can predict it. I don't know if it's 6 weeks from now or 5 months or a year or two. But at a certain point, we're going to have what's called the burst or surge phase. That's right here. Here's the surge or burst phase. The market isn't done. The market has shifted. And I strongly suspect people will buy houses again. Right now, there's legal requirements that's preventing it. But at a certain point, people are going to buy houses. And when that happens, we're going to see, because of shock and desperation, a lot of real estate agents are just going to close shop. We're going to see a lot of people leave. If we navigate through this and fuel our business forward and sustain or grow even, when the surge comes, now there is pent-up demand, people that want stuff but were frozen up and didn't buy. And now there is inadequate supply or less supply. So high demand, low supply, that is a real estate agent's dream. Now people are flooding to you. So how do we get to that position? There's the macroeconomics that are in play here that we have no control over, but what we do have control over is positioning you for the future opportunity. I can promise you it's coming. I just can't promise the day it's coming. So my goal is to get us stable now and deliberately moving forward and staying in the game so that we can catch a surge. Another interesting dynamic that happens with business owners, with customers, is that whenever there's a trigger event, a portion of those customers use this as an excuse to abandon their former provider, meaning their real estate agent. There are customers that were in consideration of buying a house, or we're talking about it with a real estate agent, and now they're going to use this as an excuse not to use that real estate agent. There's that percentage of customers that say, I internally was never really satisfied with this experience so far, but now they have the grand excuse. And it may be a conscious decision. In many cases, it's actually subconscious. The feeling like, I've always been uneasy. You know what? Let's put this off. And they will reconsider a new real estate agent. So I realize for many of us, you've lost 50%. You've lost a big customer base, or at least they've been put on hold. There's something you can do about that. But realize maybe a percentage, and I'm just going to pick a random number. I don't know the percentage, but 10% of customers are saying, you know what, I didn't really like dealing with this person anyway. I'm going to get a restart. And maybe you have 20 customers you're entertaining right now. And that means 2 are abandoning you because they never really wanted to work with you in the first place. And I know it's painful, but the mistake is to pursue those 2 people and try to keep them on board. The opportunity is the 200,000 that are opened up. Because think about your competitive landscape, all the different agents that are out there, they are all losing that 10%. And if there's 200,000, I was picking around a number, buyers out there, and that potentially you could serve, 10% means there's 2,000 that freed up. So here is one of the opportunities: is don't look at the 2 that we're losing. Let's look at the 2,000 that are now seeking. This is an opportunity to start marketing. And I'll tell you, you can market without incurring cost. It's called educational marketing. And you do it through empathy and poignant, but frequent communication. So if you don't know who that customer base is, you can't email them, but you can be producing video content. I am not surprised, but disappointed. I live in a town called Boonton, New Jersey. I have yet to see a video around anyone speaking about the Boonton housing market, a real estate agent. And I wish there was a real estate agent online on YouTube posting, here's what's going on in our community, and being the community spokesperson, because then you own the community. So there's a little
Mike,
tip
I think you just gave everybody a challenge on that one. I have a few agents that specifically live in Boonton.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I have a question though, because you said something about the evaluation phase. You could either do analysis by paralysis, or you could actually move yourself into the next phase, and start to take action.
Yeah.
So what happens there when people make the decision to go to take action versus paralysis?
Yeah. So, okay, right.
Because I fear that my agents are that there's a section of my agents that are definitely going to do paralysis.
They're going to
totally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to take, the key is this, we need to take the right action. So there's two forms of paralysis. There's the nothing situation where you do nothing, and that just is despair and decline. I get it. I'm just saying we can't do it, but I get it. There's also the wrong action, which is actually worse, because we're saying we're doing something, but it's not working. And that actually causes a faster downward spiral. So let me introduce you to something, and we can do this all together as a exercise on a piece of paper. Let me just grab a piece of paper myself. And if you have one in front of you, grab a piece of paper, ideally a big piece of paper, but any size will work. In the center, let's see if this works. I want you to draw the letter A, just like this. And here's so somewhere in the center. And what A represents is where our business is right now. I would argue 100% of us, it's a crisis moment. So we're in crisis. So A represents the current crisis. Here's step 2. Draw an arrow in any direction of your choice that represents, in a short distance, maybe just like an inch or two, that represents getting out of crisis. So I just drew an arrow out this way. So that's the first thing. And this means here's a decision you make that relieves the immediate pain. Now, draw another arrow in any direction of your choosing that gets you out of crisis, just in a different direction. So I just drew a second arrow here. And just repeat that process. Draw as many as you want, but let's just do 4 or 5 that get you out of crisis, right? So I drew something like this. It almost looks like a star, Mm-hmm. This is how most business owners respond, or real estate agents respond to a situation, and most of humanity, is we're in crisis. We consider the immediate choices we have in front of us. We act on one of them, and it gets us out of crisis, which is wonderful. Except we're back in crisis the next day. And this is what I call the survival trap. Now, what I want you to do, here's a challenge. I want you to draw the letter B and circle it in the bottom left corner of that paper. And maybe you two can show it. I'm curious how many of your arrows pointed to B. And chances are very few or none, some. None. Okay, you got the none. What'd you get, Julie?
I had one.
One. Okay, good. So, right. So I had one going the right direction. B is the right choice. And I'm going to tell you, of course, how to get to the right choice, but B is the right choice. Now, what we have to realize, and what the significance of this graphic is when we are simply considering crisis and not where we need to go, any action we take gives us relief. So it feels good, but it often will take us in the wrong direction. Actually, some decisions take us in the polar opposite direction of where we need to be. So what we need to do is first, not take action, first consider what do we need for our business, because that creates the channel. And once you know the channel we need to move in, now decisions that are consistent with that will move our business forward. And it makes the decision-making much more easy. So clarity on the immediate need for our business as opposed to what gets us out of crisis. And that moves us forward. And just finishing out this graphic, if you took a direction different than B, it simply gets you to a new A. And what happens is it presents itself with multiple arrows out again. So that's my new A, which then gets me to whatever choice I choose, yet another A. And you'll see most businesses start going in this circuitous cyclical pattern saying, it's getting worse. I'm not moving forward, because we don't know where forward is. Okay.
Wow.
Demonstrative. And I know everyone's sitting there saying, well, cut the bullshit, Mike. Give me the answer out. So we'll get to that right now.
But I think a lot of people are in that little rat race right there of, I think I'm out. Oh my gosh, I'm not out. I'm overwhelmed.
Yes. So if you're experiencing that, you are normal and you are human. And what we need to do is put confines around what you're doing. I'm going to first show you a super shortcut. I got my little handouts here that I just want to be your hack tool going forward, maybe for the rest of your life. It's called the 10-10-10 method. Oh, if you want the domain, it says recession response. So you can just Google recession response or go to
Yeah.
recessionresponse.com if you want it.
And we put
But
it in the chat.
okay. Yeah, put in the chat, recessionresponse.com. And you don't have to sign up or any of that stuff. It's totally free. And download what you want, take what you want, ditch what you don't. Okay. All this stuff is up there, by the way.
And there's lots of great resources there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for saying that. So this is called the 10-10-10 method. It is not my method. Susie Welsh wrote this. She was the wife of Jack Welch, who recently passed away. But she wrote what I believe is an extraordinary book. But admittedly, you don't need the book once you understand this concept. But if you want to explore it, I encourage you to get the book. Here's what she pointed out is the proclivity of humanity, is that when we are in crisis, point A, and getting out, our consideration, we put an extraordinary amount of significance on the immediate impact, the immediate relief, but not long-term consideration. So many people get immediate relief with long-term agony. So she wanted to develop this tool that gives us a full perspective so we can make more thoughtful considerations and decisions. So this is the method. Whatever you're deciding right now in this moment, just for that consideration. If I, I heard cutting costs, which could be a very appropriate move. If I cut costs, and now you can look at your individual costs. If I cut a cost, how am I going to feel about that decision in the next 10 minutes? And most of us put all of our consideration only in that. But she wants to give us two more components. How will I feel about this in the next 10 months and the next 10 years? And instead of looking exclusively at the immediate moment, now we look at the midterm and long term. It gives us that pregnant pause to consider our decision. And maybe I think someone mentioned the gym membership as I was connecting. I heard that. If I cancel my gym membership, how do I feel the next 10 minutes? Well, it may be a frowny face here, disappointed because I knew I should be working out. But the next 10 months, I may be grateful for this because I just relieved the subscription cost and I can work out at home. In the next 10 years, that may be one great consideration for myself in managing cost, yet still delivering on what I need for my health. And so if you look at it in the moment, some people say, I'm not going to cancel the gym. Health is everything. But when you start reflecting on it over these periods, you may realize actually it is a smart decision. So this tool, and you can do two versions of it. If I do cancel the gym membership or if I do keep the gym membership, how are my feelings about it? But this is a very simple, actual tool for every consideration you have now. So use the 10-10-10. Okay. Now I'm going to introduce you to something that's a little more comprehensive. Therefore, it's a little bit more to digest. This is in my book, Fix This Next, but you can get this for free on the recessionresponse.com. What I did was, just to give you some context, over the last 5 years, I've been researching out how to manage business crisis. Now, I did not start the
You
COVID.
knew this was coming. It was
I
all your
did not plant the COVID virus. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is just irony and coincidence and sad coincidence. Honestly, I'd rather this situation is not happening, but I really do feel my book will fuel the solution for some business owners.
Thank you.
And the core concept was this. I concluded that the biggest challenge business owners have is knowing what their biggest challenge is. I suspect if you're like me right now, there's so many things you can do, out, but what should we do? What's B? So Fix This Next is a tool to pinpoint what to work on. It's based upon this. It's called the business hierarchy of needs. And I'm going to explain this so you can pinpoint where you should be working in your business. And I'll give you some strategies too that maybe are unique for real estate agents. As a little more context, this is based upon, I translated Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow was studying human needs and basically argued that if our foundational needs for life are not satisfied, nothing else matters. He called them physiological needs: breathing air, eating food, drinking water. If you're not doing that, you're not surviving. The next need above that in this hierarchy is the need for safety, protection from harm. Actually, you provide safety by giving people homes, a roof overhead. And since now I'm in Boonton, New Jersey, or in the Northeast, we can have some cold winters. This last winter was pretty mild, but when we have a brutal winter come through, if I'm outside in a t-shirt and this brutal, sub-zero temperatures are coming in, I won't sit out there for long because I will die of hypothermia. I will seek shelter or clothing. But while I'm sitting out there, if all of a sudden someone comes with a plastic bag, and if you know Boot, New Jersey, it could happen, puts a plastic bag over my head, wraps duct tape around me, now my survival response, according to Maslow, is to get oxygen. I will tear that bag because a base level need's not satisfied. Once I tear it off, then I'm trying to find shelter. The key is that this is hierarchical. They link together. So just with that base understanding, this is very similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's the business hierarchy of needs. And one important differentiator, we are wired into ourselves. We are biologically, neurologically wired into ourselves. If you're ever walking down a dark alley and you feel frightened, please turn around. You probably will get murdered. Like, get out, right? It's our senses, sight, smell, hearing is triggering an instinct. With our business, our gut instinct can be very dangerous because we are not biologically wired into our business. We need to back this information, or what our belief is, with empirical data. Where's the proof? That's what we got to ask ourselves. Let me go through our hierarchy and the actions that I suggest you consider. The first thing, and I suspect many real estate agents, this is where you're feeling the pain, but we're going to look at a couple levels. Sales. Sales is the creation of cash. I don't need to teach you that. But what I do want you to understand is sales is the creation of oxygen. If you don't have inbound cash flow, your business is not breathing, it is suffocating. We need to generate sales. And I realize you have legal restrictions, perhaps, preventing you from selling homes right now, but there are alternatives. So when we can't sell, the first question is, meaning we're starving for oxygen, how do we tear the bag off? How do we get air? And inevitably, in a macroeconomic shift like we're experiencing now, it's by introducing alternative solutions. Core competency says, you put people in homes, you give them a sense of safety and shelter. How do we repackage this? And I'll give you some strategies in a second. But let's get through this hierarchy. The next hierarchy, and I actually would believe some people are stuck here, is profit. Profit is the creation of stability. Stability means if you have some degree of cash flow, meaning you're breathing, do we have adequate cash to support stability, meaning the retention of cash? This is the shelter for your organization. And I don't need to speak much to it now. If you don't have cash, you have no shelter. You're experiencing the permafreeze coming through right now and experiencing hypothermia. It's a desperate sensation, and I get it. If you do have some sales coming in, the question is, or some cash flow coming in, how do we retain a greater portion of it? And a great strategy is to cut unnecessary costs, to get down to the pure muscle and cut the fat, as I think Mary Beth was sharing earlier. It's a great strategy. The second strategy is protecting your best clients, because there are clients, oh yeah, there you go. Look at that in color. There are clients who are your core source of revenue, and they represent a great opportunity. I'm going to show you a chart about that in a second. A couple other things, but we're just going to breeze through them because it's not likely an issue right now. Order is the creation of efficiency. Efficiency is where a business has no dependency on the owner. Most business owners, most real estate agents carry the business on their back. As you perform, the business performs. How do we get out of that? Not a concern in the immediate circumstances for most people. Next level is impact. This is actually inherent to elite real estate agents. Get this. It's actually not about the transaction. It's about the transformation. It's your service to a client beyond purchasing a home or a place to live. You are changing their lives for the better. And that causes the greatest form of loyalty. The highest level is called legacy. That's creation of permanence. Interesting thing I discovered about this is where business owners discover that they were actually never business owners. They were business stewards. You created something of significance that is beyond you. It's meant to live on its own. But in crisis, it's really these two base levels we need to talk about. So I want to give you some strategies here. First question is, do I have any sales coming in? If you have nothing or a drip, we need to repackage our offerings is one consideration. And the method to do that I am proposing is called the one-step back method. I'm making Julie and Mary Beth print stuff out on the fly here. Sorry. Oh, you are good. So there's the one-step back method. Again, if you just want to download yourself, you can go to this website. But here's how it works. Consider your final offering. I'm going to use an example of restaurants just so we can get an illustration. And then maybe we can even talk about the real estate industry. But when it comes to restaurants are shut down. They're a gathering point, right? The final delivery historically for restaurants is the delivery of food to a table, right? That's the final thing. And then the people there eat the food. we ask ourselves, what happens one step immediately prior to that? Well, one step prior to delivering food on the table, I carry the food to the table. So carrying food or carry out or take out food is an obvious solution. And you see some businesses doing it. In fact, there's a place locally here, a restaurant that teamed up with a food truck. Collaborative opportunities are always an option in these situations. Teamed up with a food truck. The food truck is doing runs to different neighborhoods, and this restaurant has become a kitchen. Very smart strategy. They took that concept of carry out and they expanded on it. Immediately, so we go another one step back. So one step back in the deliverable is what do you do immediately prior to delivering food to the table? Well, what we do is we prepare the food. Okay, so let's talk about that. There's a chef in the kitchen preparing menus, and there's probably the top 10 or 15 favorite dishes. Now what we can do is we can sell the recipes to our client. We can film the chef preparing these, and she can teach the community, here's how you prepare your favorite meal now at home. She could do a training over Zoom, kind of like we're doing now, and do live sessions saying, gather your family, we're gonna have 10 families, and we're gonna have a celebration over your favorite meal together. And that's a new offering, a new subscription. You can go, again, one step back. You can keep on rewinding. One step prior would be the procurement of raw materials, if you will, for a restaurant, which is meats, vegetables. Now you can procure that, divide it up, and sell those. Now you become like a blue apron for your community.
Yeah.
So the offerings exist. What we need to do is, if you're realize what your final offering is, you provide someone with a home in a new community. Well, what happens right prior to delivering that home? Maybe it's contract negotiations. And you go, so maybe there's finding the buyer and the seller and making a match. Maybe you're a matchmaker now. And so maybe you can start communicating with your prospect and client base saying, this is not the time to buy a home, but this is the time to find a home. That this is probably the greatest opportunity you've ever experienced. We have a brand new offering that we're charging a small subscription fee, and we're going to start the hunt for you. Because when you are ready for the market comes back, you're going to be positioned to be one of the first in the market, giving you the best opportunity. And you can, of course, flip this to the seller side and say, you're looking to sell the home. It's not possible to sell a home right now, but we can strategically position you that when the market comes back, that you're in the right position. I have a subscription service for this to make you the preeminent listing effectively. So you're making matchmaking services. One real estate agent I was talking with, who actually is a Keller Williams agent, I won't mention her name. We were talking about strategies, and it's like, oh my gosh, she can start positioning herself as the authority in this space. She's running communal events. She has the local fire chief, the police, the mayor, and she's doing these communal events for potential buyers that want to move into the market, saying what's going on in our community right now. And showing enthusiasm, excitement for people coming into the community. And she's providing this educational platform. It's a marketing position. She's not selling that, but there is a sales opportunity there. What we have to realize is your final offering is a culmination of many mini offerings. There's lots of stuff you're doing. You need to rewind and do this in reverse, your final offering and all the steps you take to get there. Then circle the things that are basically mini offerings, and that can become a new offering. Another technique, reach out to your client base. I'm surprised how many vendors are emailing me with the worst communication ever. I'm going to start off with Chevy. Not that I'm trying to pick on Chevy, but Jesus, Chevy, what the hell's going on? I own a Chevy. I got this diatribe email, 15 paragraphs long. The COVID virus, how we're responding at Chevy. We've got your back. Come in for oil changes. We're ready for you. Ready to buy a car. We're open 24/7, better than ever. We'll get the car to you. I'm like, F you. Yeah. There's no consideration for what I or our community is going through. It's simply a sales tactic. That's called being opportunistic. Chevy, I hate to say this publicly, has gone down a ratch in my rankings because of that communication. Conversely, United, a company I used to loathe, I'm actually starting to gain some respect for. I fly United, or used to when they were flying. I fly United, and their email was said, we just want to thank you for your past loyalty. We can't imagine the circumstances you're going through right now. We just want you to know that because you're a frequent flyer, don't worry about your status. We got you covered for another 1.5 years. And that was it. I'm like, oh, that's a nice little thing. I got an email 2 days later. It said, hey, if you need to cancel flights because you haven't canceled all your flights, maybe you just want to be aware you can cancel these. And by the way, no cancellation fees, reschedule whenever you want. We got your back. I'm like, hey, that's the key to communication right now. We need to communicate more frequently in bite-sized, tangible, of service communications. Not like I'm ready to sell this crap to you.
Yeah.
Of service communications, bite-sized, tangible stuff. How I'm doing with my customer base is kind of what you're experiencing now. I have all these things I want to show you. These are bite-sized, tangible things. I'm giving you a list of them so you can take action on it. But with my own community, I am constantly dripping out small bite-sized pieces. And what it does is it builds affinity. Also, I asked probably the most important question, and I want to challenge you to do the same. Any of your existing prospects or your past clients saying, we have a new normal here. Is there a way that I can be of service to you? How can I service you now? And I did this with my constituency. And the most interesting feedback I got, which I didn't expect, was I am so fearful of the situation. I don't have any confidence. I'm frozen. Just if you can give me direction on building confidence, I'd appreciate it. So it's like, okay, that's my new mission here. And I've been working on strategies around building confidence. And I got a cool little hack now that we're rolling out. And if you want, I can share it too here. So, but here's my point of this is reach out to your customers, reach out to them by being of service, and then ask them, is there something that I can do for you now? And let them tell you what the new normal is. Sadly, I shouldn't say sadly, as an opportunity, very few companies are doing this. If you do this as a real estate agent, I bet you'll stand out from 99.9% of the other real estate agents. If you don't have a list, you can do this vocally, get that YouTube channel going, as I shared, and just start sharing about the community. Interview the mayor of your town immediately, or the towns you represent, and get a YouTube saying, this is how our town's responding to COVID. This is how it's affecting our real estate market, or here's the opportunity, and interview all of these other experts from the community, because that's what you sell. You don't sell houses, you sell belonging to a community. Am I getting too pumped up?
No, this
No,
is.
I know what you're saying.
We got this.
You know,
here's the next thing I want to show you.
We're doing something like what you're saying is we are matchmakers, right? As in the real estate industry, we are matchmakers, and that should never stop. And I think you made a great point is we could be looking for inventory for buyers. We know what the buyers and sellers are always looking for in the specific towns. So why not just start calling into the communities, checking in first, obviously, to see if everybody's okay. And then the next round is, hey, by the way, here's how we're doing right now. Here's what we are doing. Are you interested in selling? And then putting them on a list of exclusive properties to hit the market when this does open up, and potentially sell them before they even go to market.
Exactly. I love that. And that's the opportunity. And that's thought forward. Like you're thinking, where's the opportunity here? I do want to make one distinction. Is there is what's called opportunistic selling, and there's opportunity selling, and they are radically different. Opportunistic, by my definition, is where we take advantage of someone's disadvantage. Opportunity selling is where you realize you are the best at what you do, and that if a client is going to take an action of purchasing or doing something, that if they went with something else, it would be their loss because you're of better service. If you have something that's better than your competition, you have an effing responsibility in this market to get noticed, to stand up, to market. I'm talking to so many business owners that say it's not appropriate now to sell myself. And I'm like, it's not appropriate to take opportunity of people's disadvantage. That's what Chevy was doing. It's an opportunity for people to become aware of you, because if you truly believe you have the best offering, they are going to buy at a certain point. And sadly, there's a lot of unscrupulous people right now that are moving in and taking advantage of people's desperation. They're opportunistic. So we have a freaking responsibility to step up the game, to block out the unscrupulous and deliver integrally, to be caring for people. So this is not a time to shirk. It's a time to stand up.
I love that.
Like, shame on us if we don't, right? What are they going to be left with? I said, shame on us if we don't. Who will they be left with?
Exactly. And exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen. And sadly, those some real estate agents that are great real estate agents are in that shock and desperation stage, and it's going to burn out. So we have to do this, but the only way to do it is in small bites. Like if I think the other mistake is, I've got this and I'm going to be of such great service, and we start giving, and then we start compromising ourselves and our ability to give, and then we wipe ourselves out. So how do we do this that we're of service, but we're also of service to ourselves, that we're generating revenue? You have a responsibility to sell, to care for your customers, and equally a responsibility to generate revenue for your business. Because if you can't sustain. So you have to care for yourself. This is not about flogging. Yeah.
Mike, on your YouTube channel, you have like 2-minute quick videos that you're saying, I got this question from Mary Beth yesterday, and I just thought some of you might want this information as well. So here we go. And it's just 2 minutes. That's 2-minute
bites.
That's exactly.
Yeah. And actually, here's what I'm finding about YouTube videos specifically, because this is an opportunity for all of us. You don't have to have like a huge YouTube channel. You don't even have to have a YouTube channel. This can be your first video. If you give a specific information around your community, you'll probably be very unique, and the right people will find you. The second thing is, the mistake I see people do in YouTube videos is there's this big buildup. So it's a 2 or 3 minute video, but the first 2 minutes like, hey, I'm Mike Michalowicz. I'm a real estate agent in this area. Been for 20 years. Here's the stuff. And like, people are like, just give me the shit I need. So let's give them what they need. If in the first 10 seconds, you're not delivering the value and caring for the customer, they're going to lose interest. So within 10 seconds, say, hey, I work in this community. Here's what I found that you can do right now. Start doing these searches for, so-and-so or whatever it is, but start giving the answer first. Your qualifications and stuff now actually gets pushed off toward the end. And you can say, hey, if you want more support, you can reach out to me, Mike Michalowicz. Here's my email if I can be of service to you. And make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to send another video tomorrow.
That's awesome. Give
the results immediately now. Okay. Next thing I want to show, giving you more results. And this is kind of the final key thing I want to share. And then I want to invite you to do something. So this here is called the Pareto overlap. This is my term, by the way, so you can't Google Pareto overlap. But Pareto studied the discipline or the distribution of wealth, and there it is, the access, how things are distributed. It came to be known as the 80-20 rule. The concept is this: it's likely that 20% of your transactions yielded 80%, or 20% of your inventory yielded 80% of your profitability or commissions. That 20% of your customers are awesome, and they everything you say, they love it. They're invested in the outcome. They're efficient. Now, Pareto principle also works in the reverse. There is that base of customers that just suck ass. That 20% customers, it's just like, are they even human? Like, who are these monsters? Never satisfied. I got to see 7,000 properties. I'll find fault in everything, and you're the reason this sucks. Some of them can even become threatening. You wait until you see the Yelp review and doing how crappy you are. Well, the Pareto overlap is realizing you have great customers and bad customers. You have great offerings, meaning great inventory, and bad inventory. Here's the 4 scenarios. Great customers that have historically bought great inventory, you must protect those relationships. Those are your key relationships. If you only devote yourself to one thing, it is keeping communication going with them. Ask them what they need. Be of service to them, because we want more customers like this, and we can't afford to lose them. And I know your transactions happen on average with a client once every 7 years or something, but just knowing this community and being of service, they know more people like them. So protect. Stage 2, these crappy clients buying inventory that sucks historically, jettison them. Stop the dialogue with them. My friend calls them the poison. And why are we swallowing poison? Let other real estate agents that are competing with us, let them take on the poison, but don't do it for yourself. You have a responsibility to cater to this market, because you're here. You clearly care about continuing and being of service. So we've got to focus here. 2 other scenarios: great clients that buy bad inventory. This is an education opportunity. Keep the dialogue going, but tell them, if it's authentic and integral, why other kinds of properties or other opportunities are a better service to them, and try to elevate them up in the offering. This 4th scenario is one that in the past, when we're not in crisis, I tell us to avoid. It's these crappy customers buying great things. This is where, people are giving us good money, but God, we hate them. This is called prostitution historically, right? I'll do anything for money. But now this turns into a new situation, because clients are critical in crisis. This is a hard conversation, but it's a call to the customer saying, listen, if we're going to continue to do business together in the future, I need new behavioral standards. We're not going to look at 7,000 properties. And if that's what you need, I'm not going to be of service to you. If you threaten, not threaten me like directly, but if you are constantly complaining about what's going wrong, I'm not going to be of service to you. I need you to behave like XYZ and move these customers up. This is the Pareto overlap. The actionable take home right now is cater to this one, service this one. And
Love that.
Yeah.
the last thing I wanted to share, and then maybe we can do quick Q&A, is I have a selfish interest in this, but I also hope I'm convinced it'll be of service to you. I wrote that book that I've strategically positioned right there. It's not that small. It's just in the distance. It's not that tiny. It's on Amazon now, and I want to invite you to buy it. And the reason I'm asking you to buy it is I designed this to navigate the circumstances around the situation. And selfishly, why it serves me is if more people start purchasing the book on Amazon, the Amazon engine kicks in and starts marketing the book. Sadly, and this is just my own concerns, is the books and the things that are popular on Amazon right now are children's books, which is good, and weaponizing and harming other people. And that, I don't like that. People are looking at survival for themselves by harming others. And that's the focus. And I want business owners, I want our survival to be on the backbone of small business because we are the economy. So I want business books to win. So that's my selfish interest. If you do decide to buy it, I appreciate it tremendously. The book will be of service to you. That's my guarantee. And you'll also be of service to a greater purpose I'm trying to serve. So thank you.
As a small thank you to you and the people who, the agents and leadership that have been joining us for the past few weeks. We, anyone who shares our Facebook page, we're doing a little raffle next week, and we're going to pre-order them each two. We're going to do 2 copies, so that way on
Thank you.
28th, when it releases, it'll be headed to their home. We've already purchased ours, so.
Thank you so much for doing that. That means a lot to me. And if anyone else buys it, just hold on to the receipt, which Amazon holds on to you. We're giving a special gift to everyone that makes a purchase around the confidence course. So I'm going to teach you the methods we've developed around building confidence. And that's totally free if you send the receipt to us. And if you do get the book today, email me. It's Mike at Mike.
How can people get in touch with you? What's the safest way to get your information out there so they can get in touch with you?
So you can email me, Mike at MikeMichalowicz.com. And I'll put that in the chat. And just email me the receipt, and I will make sure you get the conference course for free. The other thing is, if you want to just get more stuff on Fix This Next, you can go to fixthisnext.com. We've set up and activated the evaluation for your business. It's 25 questions to evaluate. We weren't going to activate it for a few more months, but we've expedited it. It's free. You don't need to do anything. And it's a download. You don't need to get an email or anything. Just fill out the form, go through the process, and you can do it as many times as you wish to pinpoint exactly what you need to work on your business now. So that's the resources.
That's great.
So I'm just summing some things up. You've really modeled for us what a lot of our agents can be doing in their business just in this short hour that we've spent with you. Sharing information for free, be downloads for buyers and sellers. We have tons of maybe investor type budget plans that we could be sharing. The one things from your book that we could be sharing out. So being a local expert is one thing that I think all of our agents and leaders have the ability to do. Get on these kind of platforms to just share so they can see you as well. And going super hyper local. And it's a lot of mindset is what I'm hearing. So I love what you've done here for the agents, because I think you just inspired them to take action.
Thank you.
I can see some things going on here. So
Thank you.
Just by following you and going on your podcast, going on your YouTube channels, we are going to be able to get that information and think about how we can relate it, tweak it to make it our own, and send it to the people based on, what their questions would be, and even asking them, right? Hey, I know, like you said, we're going to be interviewing the mayor of Boonton next.
Yeah. What do you want me to ask? What do you want me to ask them?
Yeah. You could even make that phone call to your core sphere and say, these are some of the people I have lined up. What do you want to know? What questions do you have?
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity out there if we're willing to look for it. It doesn't mean it's easy. Opportunity doesn't mean like things are going to be handed to us on a plate, but if we take decisive action, you'll see results. And Kevin, thank you. Just email me. I'll get you that confidence course.
Yeah, he ordered that on the card.
Um,
All right, do we have any questions on
we have-
Facebook for Mike?
we have one question, Mike, on the profit first principles. Do you suggest adjusting profit percentages in times like this?
Great question. And the answer is no. And I'll tell you why. So I'm getting two questions. So I cut my profit percentages, should I increase it? And the answer is neither. Let the number stay as is until you experience the pressure in OpEx, or you don't. That's when your business starts speaking to you. So don't adjust unless you're feeling pressure. Now, if you feel OpEx, you don't have enough money to continue operations, that should trigger the question, why don't we have enough money? Is it, and we go back to the fix this next business hierarchy of needs. Is it a sales issue? Is it something else? The wrong move to make, in my experience, is adjusting profit down, because that simply buffers us from feeling the pain of what's going on. So if we stop taking profit and we start living off profit, then we're like, oh, things aren't that bad. And then when we fall off the cliff, now we have no cushion, and then we don't know what to do. So maintain the percentages. If you don't have enough money to pay bills, that means you can't afford those bills. And the two solution is cutting costs. That's obvious. But the bigger thing is, how do you amplify margins or position yourself with new offerings?
Amazing.
I see some people. Lindsay, I got yours, Kevin. So you guys, I thank you for emailing me. I will send you the link for the conference courses we get set up for free. So thanks for getting the book. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
And
we're going to push it.
We've got a lot of questions here for your resources, you guys. We will go ahead and post all the links for his resources. They're in these chats as well, but we'll post them in our Facebook group. So you can hop right into that afterwards, and we'll have all the resources for where to find all of the PDFs, where, as well as other his podcast and whatnot. And hopefully you'll, before you hop onto your next call, hopefully everybody will go ahead and purchase Fix This Next.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I know it will be a service to you. I do have to go. I just want to share one final thing is no question, the world has punched us in the face and given us a bloody nose. And I know it's absurd for the world to ask, but the world's also saying, please save me now. Real estate agents, small business owners are needed more than ever. And I know it sounds crazy because we're all bloodied up now, but we do have to stand up and step forward. So do that. I'm wishing you tremendous success and hope you kick some ass.
Thank you, Mike. We really
thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mike.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Wish you well. Health and wealth.
Oh, well.
All right, Mary Beth. So I think that's a wrap for us. And we are going to be back here on Monday with Mo Anderson.
Yes.
And, so we're very excited about that. Again, you guys, please go ahead over to our Facebook group, Leading Through Crisis with Mary Beth and Julie, and we will post all of these resources. And don't forget to share the group so you are entered in to win one of his books.
Thank you guys so much. I hope this was of value. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.